Hello, everyone. This is Steve Risher, the host of Sports Talk with RKJ, and today I have your preview of Week 2. It all started last night with the Buccaneers and the Panthers, and the Buccaneers got a huge win over the Panthers, 20-14. It was kind of a sloppy game for both teams. I mean, I think Jameis Winston played a little bit better than Cam Newton, but neither offensive line protected their quarterback at all. Both quarterbacks were sacked 3 times. But I think the biggest difference in this game was that the Buccaneers were able to pretty much shut down Christian McCaffrey. I mean, their defense, yes, it's still not that good of a defense, but it is improved. I mean, they were able to hold Christian McCaffrey to 37 yards rushing, which was huge in that game. I think that was huge. So that forced Cam Newton to throw the ball over 50 times, and Cam Newton was really inaccurate last night, going 26 for 54 throwing the football. I mean, I think right now Cam Newton is not 100%, and he even said that in his press conference, but he put it on himself, but I think he even said it in his press conference that he's not 100% right now. But a huge loss for the Panthers. Big win for the Bucs. Bucs go to 1-1. Panthers go to 0-2, and I mean the Panthers got to win next week, or Ron Rivera's job is going to be in big trouble. And you could even say the future of Cam Newton might be in huge trouble too if the Panthers win next week. Buccaneers get the big win. Get Bruce Arians' first win as head coach of the Bucs. That is a big win for the Bucs to go to 1-1. So we'll go to the games here in Week 2, and we'll start with an NFC East matchup in Washington between the Cowboys and the Redskins. And the Redskins got off to a great start last week, but fell apart in the second half. Cowboys had a really, really good game against the Giants. I think this game for the Cowboys, I think the Cowboys win this game, but they don't cover. They're a 5.5-point favorite. I don't think they cover, but I think they win this game. But it definitely will be a more competitive game than it was last week. I think Ezekiel Elliott will probably have a better game he did on the ground because it's his second game back. But with Dak Prescott, I definitely don't think he plays as well as he did last week. I think the Redskins defense is definitely better. They got Josh Norman on the back end. They got Ryan Kerrigan getting pressure. Got Deron Payne, who can contain the run game with Ezekiel Elliott. Well, Jonathan Allen isn't playing, so that could be big for the Cowboys to get their offense going. But I think Dak Prescott definitely has a better game. It doesn't have as good of a game as he did in Week 1, but I still think the Cowboys win this game. I mean, I think that their defense contains the Redskins' offense. I think Case Keenum makes some plays. The Redskins will be without Darius Geis, who's out 6 to 8 weeks, but he didn't have that good of a week last week against the Eagles. Adrian Peterson comes back, so I think they're definitely going to get a better running game. Peterson will run for about 70 or 80 yards, but it won't be enough. I think the Cowboys win a really, really close, competitive NFC East battle. I got the Cowboys beating the Redskins on Sunday, 23-20. We'll go down to Miami for an AFC East matchup, which definitely looks like the biggest mismatch of the weekend between the Patriots and the Dolphins. You saw the Patriots last week. They looked outstanding against the Steelers and all phases, offense, defense, special teams. And you look at the Dolphins, and they were absolutely pathetic. They looked like the worst team in football by far last Sunday against the Ravens. And looking at and that organization is a mess right now. Megan Fitzpatrick, They've already seen permission for Minka Fitzpatrick to pursue a trade to get out of there too. Players are trying to get out of there. It's an absolute mess in Miami right now, and I think it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same old this week. I got the Patriots beating the Dolphins in Miami, 38-13. I think Tom Brady has a huge day. I think the Patriots defense gets pressure on Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't think the Dolphins get their run game going. I think the Patriots get their run game going with Sonny Michel. I think it's a big win for the Patriots this week. I'm going 38-13 Patriots over the Dolphins. We got a rematch of Super Bowl 40 this week as the Seahawks head to Pittsburgh to visit the Steelers. And I think this is going to be a really, really entertaining game between these two teams. I think the Steelers offense will look completely different like it did last week. I think looking at Seattle's secondary, who gave up over 400 yards to Andy Dalton. I mean, if Andy Dalton can throw for 400 yards against you, well, Big Ben, now you got Big Ben. Now it's Big Ben's turn to have a huge game against you, and I think he does. I think Big Ben has a huge game. I think Juju has a huge game. There's nobody in that secondary that's going to be able to stop Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, and in the run game, I think James Conner will have a little bit of a better game. I think with Clowney and Wagner, they'll contain him, but I think Big Ben definitely throws for over 400 yards against that secondary. Even Moncrief or Washington will still have a big game for the Redskins. But on the flip side, I think Russell Wilson has a really good game for the Seahawks too. I think that, yes, the Steelers' front seven is really good, and that's why I don't think the Seahawks will have a great success running the ball, but I think through the air. I think that Russell Wilson's going to have a big game with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I think this is a really close, high-scoring game, but I got the Steelers winning this one, and I got them winning it 34-28. We head up to the Meadowlands, where the Buffalo Bills, who won last week at MetLife Stadium, head back to MetLife Stadium to play the Giants this week. And I think this is another really, really competitive game between these two teams. I think that in this game that Josh Allen's going to make some plays. Eli Manning's going to make some plays. Saquon Barkley, I don't think has as good of a week running the football. I think the Bills did a great job, really good job last week containing Le'Veon Bell with the play of Ed Oliver, with the play of Tremaine Edmonds. I think the Bills got some talent on this defense, and that's the biggest difference in this game, is how much better the Bills defense is to how much better the Giants defense is. The Bills defense is arguably a top 10 defense. The Giants defense is probably definitely a bottom 5 defense. So I think that's the biggest difference in the game, because I think both quarterbacks are pretty much even, but I think the defense makes the difference. And I think the Giants, you could argue, have probably better skill guys too, but I think the defense of the Bills is the difference maker in this, is the difference in this game. And also Sterling Shepard and Cody Latimer didn't practice yesterday. Shepard probably isn't going to play. He's still in concussion protocol. You don't know what's going to happen with Cody Latimer. And for the Bills, I think on offense, I think Josh Allen has a decent game. I think they have success running the ball again, just like they did on Sunday with Devin Singletary and Frank Gore. And I think they contain Saquon Barkley. I think this is a close, competitive game, but as I said, the defense will be the difference. That's why I'm taking the Bills. I'm going 24-20 Bills Sunday afternoon at MetLife Stadium. We have the Chargers are heading to up to Detroit to face the Lions. I mean, in a interconference matchup, and I think this game is going to be an interesting game because the Chargers going to have to play in the Eastern time zone at 1:00. But I still think with their pass rush of Joey Bosa, their pass rush of Melvin Ingram is going to make the difference. I think they're going to be all over Stafford all day. I think Detroit will have success running the ball with C.J. Anderson and Kerryon Johnson. And I do think the Chargers will have a little bit of success running the ball too with Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson. But at the end of the day, I think this game is going to come down to one or two things. I think the Lions could have the lead late, just like they did last week, and the defense won't be able to hold it. I think Rivers could have a game-winning drive, or the ball could be in Stafford's hands late in the game, and he either turns the ball over or he fails to have the Lions score at the end of the game. So I think it comes down to one of those two things, and I think the Chargers win this game. I think this is going to be a close, competitive game, but I think in the end the Chargers win it, and I got the Chargers winning it 24-19 over the Lions to go. And if the Chargers win this Sunday, they'll be 6-0 without Melvin Gordon. So that holdout will continue if the Chargers win this game, because they'll be 6-0 without Melvin Gordon. The 49ers stay on the East Coast this week and head up to Cincinnati to face the Bengals. And I think that the 49ers, even though they're another, West Coast team playing the Eastern time zone, I think Kyle Shanahan's a good coach and he's going to have his team ready. And I think they're going to be able to run, even though Tevin Coleman's going to be out for a while. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. I think with Matt Breida, they're going to be able to run the ball. Cincinnati, they were pretty good against the run last week, but they don't have a good run defense. I think the 49ers control the game. I think Jimmy Garoppolo plays better in this game. And I also think there's a good chance of Joe Mixon not playing, so that's going to force the game in Andy Dalton's hands, which the Niners pass rush will be able to tee off on Andy Dalton. I think with Nick Bosa, with DeForest Buckner, and with Dee Ford, that pass rush is going to be able to tee off on Andy Dalton. I think that they get pressure on him. Even though the Bengals are a 2-point favorite, I'm taking the Niners in the upset. I got the Niners winning this game 27-13 in Cincinnati. We got a big NFC North matchup in Green Bay this week as the Vikings and Packers meet at Lambeau Field. And this is kind of a carbon copy of last year. Last year, these two teams met in week 2 as well. We all know they ended up tying because Minnesota didn't have a field goal kicker. But I think this is another really close competitive game. I think Minnesota has success running the ball, not the success they did last week though. I think Green Bay's made some nice additions on defense with Preston Smith, with Zadarius Smith, and with Adrian Amos. I think Aaron Rodgers has a pretty good week this week. I think it was a little rusty in week 1. 1. Bears defense a little bit better than the Vikings defense. Now that he's at home, I think he has a good week this week. But I think this comes down. I think it's a karma copy of last year, though. It comes right down. This game comes right down to the end where Green Bay has a lead late in the game and their defense has to make a stop. We remember last year in the same situation, the Packers didn't make a stop and the Vikings ended up tying the game. I think it's the opposite this year. I think with the improvements Green Bay has made on defense, I think that Kirk Cousins has the ball at the end of the game and Green Bay's defense makes a stop and they win this game. I got the Packers winning this game 27-20 over the Vikings on Sunday. We have another divisional matchup as the Colts visit Tennessee to face the Titans. And I think in this game, both running backs have success running the ball. I think Marlon Mack had a really big game against the Chargers last week. I think he continues to stay hot. I think he has a really good game running the ball against the Titans defense this week. I think Derrick Henry has another really good game running the ball for the Titans. But I think the difference in this game is the Titans are at home, and I trust Marcus Mariota a little bit more than I trust Jacoby Brissett, and I think the Titans win this game. And I'm going to go with the Titans winning this game 23-19 in Tennessee. The Jaguars visit another AFC South matchup as the Jaguars visit the Houston Texans. And the Jaguars are in big trouble now as they lost Nick Foles for the next 10 weeks to a collarbone injury. Gardner Minshew is now the starting quarterback. He had a pretty good week last week in week 1, but I think now with game film, and I think the Texans defense is a little bit better, is definitely better than the Kansas City Chiefs defense, and I think he's going to struggle this week on the road. I think J.J. Watt's going to bring the pressure. I think, you got guys like Zach Cunningham and Broderick McKinney that are going to be able to shut down the run game. I think obviously he's going to have to face pressure, and I don't think Fournette's going to have a big day on the ground. And I think that Deshaun Watson, even though the Jaguars defense is good, I think Deshaun Watson's going to put up enough points in this game for the Texans to win, and for the Texans to win by a couple scores. And I think Gardner Minshew is going to make a mistake that could lead to a defensive touchdown for Houston. And I got Houston winning this game at home. I got Houston avenging their loss from Monday night. I got Houston winning this game 27-14 over the Jaguars. I think with the loss of Nick Foles is going to be a big loss for this team, and I think Minshew is going to struggle this week in Houston. We have another AFC NFC matchup as the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray head to Baltimore to face the Ravens with Lamar Jackson. And the spread for this game is absolutely ridiculous, being 13 points. I mean, the Ravens looked great last week, but look who they played. The Dolphins are absolutely terrible. We got to remember, the Ravens did still lose 4 starters on defense, and Terrell Suggs is going to be making his return to Baltimore in another uniform. He had a really good week last week for the Cardinals against the Lions. So we got Terrell Suggs coming back to Baltimore, but you look at the starters the Ravens lost on defense. C.J. Mosley had a big week. Terrell Suggs had a big week. Zadarius Smith had a pretty good week too. So, I mean, the Ravens still have lost 4 starters on defense. Yes, Lamar Jackson had a great week last week, but the Dolphins are absolutely terrible, so I don't know how you can gauge that. So I think this game, I think the Ravens still win the game, but I definitely think the Cardinals cover this game. I think the Ravens are going to get their run game going with Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards. I think they're going to get that run game going. But the thing with the Cardinals is I think they're going to be able to have success running the ball too. I think David Johnson looked really good last week against the Lions. I think he had a really good week running the ball. I think Kyler Murray, he started slow, but in the second half of that game was really impressive. He led them to that comeback. It prevented a loss, but ended up being a tie. But he led them to that fourth quarter comeback. So he definitely looked impressive in the fourth quarter. But at the end of the day, I think Lamar Jackson makes more plays than Kyler Murray in this game. And I think the Ravens win a close game. I got the Ravens winning this game 27-23 in Baltimore. We have a rematch, the game the Saints have been waiting for 8 months. We got a rematch of the NFC Championship game in Los Angeles this week as the Saints travel to LA to face the Rams. And I think this is going to be a really, really good game. First, I think both teams have success running the football. I think the Saints have success with Malcolm Brown and Todd Gurley running the ball. I think the Saints are going to have success with Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray. I think the Saints have really found this identity on offense, running the football, especially in 2017. They found this identity identity of running the football on offense, and it's really worked the last 2 years, and I think it definitely can continue this year. I think the big question with the Saints was, would they have the same run game losing Mark Ingram? I think Latavius Murray might not be as good as Mark Ingram, but he definitely brings that second back with Alvin Kamara, and I think this is a really, really close competitive game, but I think the big difference maker is with the Rams being at home and with Sheldon Rankins probably not going to play. I think the Rams have a little bit more success running the football than the Saints. I think both teams have success, and I think Drew Brees, he's a great quarterback in the dome, but over the last couple of years he's not been great outdoors, and that's why I think Jared Goff might make a little bit more plays than him in the game. Even though I think Goff could struggle a little bit too, because the pass rush in New Orleans is pretty good with Cam Jordan. I think Goff makes a little bit more plays than Brees, and I got the Rams winning this game, just like a 3-point game, just like the NFC Championship game. I got the Rams winning this game 30-27 over the Saints. The Bears head to Mile High to face the Broncos, and I think the Bears last week, Mitchell Trubisky really struggled last week. I think their defense played really well, even though they lost the game. You look at the Broncos, they really struggled last week, stopping the run. Derek Carr had a big game. They couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. Joe Flacco struggled at times last week. I think Joe Flacco is going to struggle again this week. I think this pass rush of the Chicago Bears with Leonard Floyd and Khalil Mack is going to have a really big day. I think they're going to have trouble running the football, so that's going to force Joe Flacco to be one-dimensional. And on offense for the Bears, I think they're going to be able to get that running game going with David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen. I think Trubisky has not a great game, but a better game as he had in Week 1. And I think the Bears, even though Mile High is a tough place to play, I think the Bears edge out the Rams. I got the Bears winning this game the Bears edge out the Broncos. I got the Bears winning this game 23-17 in Denver. We got an AFC West matchup in Oakland this week as the Chiefs head out to Oakland to face the Raiders. And I think this is going to be a really, really close game. On Monday night, I was really impressed. One thing I was really impressed by was by the Raiders' offensive line, the improvement of the Raiders' offensive line, especially the improvement of Colton Miller. I thought they were crazy at the beginning of the season when they signed Trent Brown to that huge contract to play him at right tackle, but it worked last week. Colton Miller is much improved. Trent Brown had an excellent game at right tackle, holding Bradley Chubb and Von Miller in check. And I think this week they do the same thing. I think they protect Derek Carr. I think the Raiders put up a bunch of points, but also, even though Tyreek Hill is out, I don't think Patrick Mahomes misses a beat. He's the best. He's out. Him, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady is a top 3 quarterback in the league right now. I think he has a huge week this week. Again, even though the Raiders defense is improved a little, I think he still has a huge week. And I think the Chiefs win this game. I think the Raiders cover. They're a 7-point underdog at home. I think they cover, but I got Kansas City winning this game 31-27 over the Raiders. We got the Sunday night game between the Eagles and Falcons, and this should be a really, really, really entertaining game between these two teams. I think that, you got 2 good quarterbacks, you got 2 really good offenses, and I think Atlanta's offense is really going to show up this week. I think they're going to have not a ton of success, but definitely more success running the ball with Devontae Freeman than they had last week. I think that the receivers could have big days. I think that either Julio Jones or Calvin Ridley could go for over 100 yards against this Eagles secondary, who Case Keenum had a huge game against. If Case Keenum can have a huge game against your secondary, what do you think Matt Ryan's going to do to your secondary? And the Eagles had trouble getting pressure on the quarterback last week. Atlanta's offensive line has struggled a little, but with Jake Matthews and Alex Mack, I don't think the Eagles are going to put a ton of pressure on Matt Ryan. He's at home. He's in the dome. I think Matt Ryan has a huge game. I think he throws for over 400 yards. I think Julio Jones or Calvin Ridley have a huge game against the secondary. I think it's a huge game for the Falcons offense. For the Eagles offense, I think they have a big game too. I think Atlanta has really, really struggled against the run. Even though they got Deion Jones and Keanu O'Neal back, I think because Deion Jones is a really good linebacker, but he's better in coverage than against the run. I think Philly has a huge game running the ball with Jordan Howard, with Miles Sanders, and with Darren Sproles. I think they run for over 100 yards, and Carson Wentz has a huge game. But at the end of the day, I got the Falcons winning a shootout in Atlanta Sunday night, 34-31 over the Eagles. Our last game of the week is the Monday night game between the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. And I think this game is made to order for the Browns to win it. If the Browns don't win this game, you're going to hear, if you don't win this game, you're the Browns, you don't win this game, Odell Beckham, Baker Mayfield, and Jarvis Landry you're going to hear the media get all over you. I mean, if you don't want to hear what the outside world wants to say about you, you don't win this game Monday night if you're the Browns, you're going to hear what the outside world has to say about you. This is a made to order game for the Browns to win. You look at the Jets, they're coming into this game a complete mess. Sam Darnold was diagnosed with mono yesterday. He's not going to play. Trevor Siemian's going to start. You look at the Jets, two of the best players on defense, one who the Jets drafted with the number 3 pick, Quentin Williams. He's questionable for the game. CJ Mosley, and you saw the way the Jets defense fell apart when he went out of the game. He's questionable for the game. I think that the Browns have to win this game, and I think they are. I think they're going to have success on the ground with Nick Chubb. I think Baker Mayfield should bounce back this week because the Jets' corners are terrible. They're not good at all. I think Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry should have good weeks. And if the Browns play up to their capability, they absolutely should win this game. Myles Garrett should get pressure on Trevor Siemian. I think the Browns, I don't think Le'Veon Bell has as good of a game now that Trevor Siemian's the starting quarterback because they now can stack the box against them. And I think the Browns win this game, and I think they win it by a couple scores. I got the Browns winning this game 27-10. The Browns got to win this game or the media will be all over them Tuesday morning. That's going to wrap it up for our Week 2 preview. I'm going to post this video around 4 o'clock today. I'll be posting my picks at 12:30 today. I'll post this video around 4 o'clock today. I hope you guys watch it. I hope you guys were watching our show that we did on Wednesday. I posted that show Wednesday night. So we're going to be back here. Kyle, and Justin will be back Thursday morning doing our show. We'll be previewing Week 3 of the NFL season and Week 4 of the college football season. And I'll be back here probably next Friday doing my Week 3 preview. So I hope you watch and have a great weekend, everybody.